Shalom. First off, we give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Wachar Kodash. I want to give a double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who teach the truth of these scriptures, who have brought a lot of us in this truth up, and giving peace, love, and salutations unto those of you part of those 12 tribes of Israel, the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans who are striving for salvation, striving to see a downfall of this kingdom, and the men, women, and children that follow in truth and in sincerity. So in this lesson, I wanted to get into the topic of who Esau is, who Edom is, because Edom is an important person when it comes to prophecy, when it comes to in today's time. But you have to know who that person is, because people coming into this truth, they may not know who Esau is. They may not know how to know, who Esau is or why. So I want to get into that, showing who Esau is according to the scriptures. And so we're going to get into Genesis chapter 25 and verse 25. It says, and the first came out red all over we'll start at verse 23. So it said, and the Lord Yahweh said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. So this is talking about when Rebecca was having Isaac's children, so this is Isaac and Rebecca's children. And so in verse 25 it says, and the first came out red all over like an hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. Now, let's get into the definition of that word Esau. We're going to get Strong's H6215. It says Esau, hairy. And this right here is incorrect, because in the Hebrew, Esau's name really goes back to wasted away. Now, why does it say that he's wasted away? The reason why it says that is because when you read this, it says and the first came out red. Now, at the time, everybody that was born, everybody everyone that was walking the earth at this time had pigment to their skin. They had melanin. They had some type of pigment. And so it says that Esau came out red, which means that you could see his blood underneath the skin. You could see his veins. You could see, you could see it was translucent, you could say. And who can you identify like that today? Well, the so-called white people. And we say so-called white because they're not actually white. They named themselves white because of the definition that comes with it, because of the rapport that the color white has. Because you look up white, and let's see. Let me see. Long story short, the color white is correlated with purity, is correlated with good things. And so the so-called white man, he named himself that, but he's actually red, because you can, when you look at white people, or quote unquote white people, when you look at the so-called white man Esau, when you look at him, when he gets embarrassed or when he laughs, when he's sweating, building up a sweat, his face turns red. You can see that red on his skin. And why is that? Because of that lack of pigment, which is why his name means wasted away, because his skin was wasted away of pigment. At the time, if I'm not mistaken, in Hebrew, that word Esau is Isha. And at the time, your child comes out the womb with no pigment, looking red in the skin, and so Isaac, he looked at him, he called him wasted away, because of that lack of pigment. And so And so we're gonna read on to verse 27. It says, "And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field." And you know this is even more Esau, because who is most known for hunting today? Who is who is that stereotype placed on? You know, it's placed on the so-called white man. And you know, most of the time stereotypes have some truth to them, because you see today that Esau are they're skilled hunters. You know, they love hunting. There was a video I've seen recently of this man who was speaking about hunting, and it was a so-called white man. You know, he was from the nation of Edom, and he was talking about his love for hunting. He was talking about how he grew up doing it, how he would be hunting it until the day he dies, because of the devotion that he has to it, because of the connection that he has to hunting. And that's in Esau's spirit, to hunt, you know. So that's why I mentioned it right here. And Esau was a cunning hunter, because that was a part of his spirit. And so that traveled in them all the way till now. And so we're gonna go ahead and jump to verse 29 of Genesis 25. And it says, "And Jacob sowed pottage, and Esau came from the field, and he was faint. And Esau said to Jacob, Feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom." And so, you know, what was going on, you know, Esau has come back from hunting, or come back from doing what he was doing, and he was tired, you know, and he was starving. And so, you know, he asked Jacob for that food, but the food wasn't done. The food wasn't all the way cooked. And so it says that his name was called Edom, and we're going to get that in a second. And so you read on, it says, "And Jacob said, Sell me this day thy birthright. And Esau said, Behold, I am at the point to die, and what profit shall this birthright do to me? And Jacob said, Swear to me this day. And he sware unto him, and he sold his birthright unto Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage of lentils, and he did eat and drink." And so Esau, you know, he didn't care that food wasn't done, which is off to this day, because eating your food when it's not cooked, eating your food raw at all, you're not supposed to eat your food like that. You know, you got Jake. If they see their food, you know, with that little bit of red in it, they ain't gonna want it. You know, they're in most cases they're gonna want it cooked more. Even us outside of the truth, they're gonna want it cooked more. And so with Esau, he didn't care. And in today's time, who do you see most of the time eating their steak or eating their food when rare, or having it still red, you know, very, very red? You know, they eat their food almost raw. They eat their steak almost raw. You know, they put it on the grill for one side, 10 seconds, flip it over 10 seconds, and they eat it just like that. And that's that same spirit that they take from then all the way till now. That's just in their nation. And so if you go into the definition of the word Edom, or the name Edom, Strong's H123, it says Edom red, you know. And so that's further backing up, you know, talking about his pigmentation, talking about the color of his skin. And so let's go to Obadiah chapter 1 verse 3. So before this, in verse 1, it established that this chapter is talking about the nation of Edom. And so it says, "The pride of thine heart had deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock." So further, actually, let's read on. It says, "Whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, Who shall bring me down to the ground? Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, said the Lord Yahweh." And so this is when we get into whose kingdom that we're in right now. The kingdom that we're in right now is the kingdom of Esau. You know, this is his kingdom. This is his rulership, because the people who are on top of the world right now in today's time are Edomites. You know, with the Rockefellers and with the Rothschilds, with these elite banking families. They are who is over the world as we know it. And so yeah, they are those elites, and those are Edomites. And but even in this country, America, you know, it's Edomites running this place. You know, and you have people that make the excuse that Barack Obama wasn't president, but he was just a puppet. You know, he was just a puppet for those Edomites that were behind the curtain, still pulling those strings. And so it says the pride of thine heart had deceived thee. And um, there's a couple points I want to touch on. First, that pride of thine heart part, because Esau, Edom, you know, in their kingdom today, you know, in their spirit as people, they have a lot of pride in their heart, how they carry themselves, you know, how they act. You know, they go against the Most High, and are proud in their own ways. They feel like they have knowledge that trumps over the Most High. They feel like they're exalted, they're above every other nation of people, every other person on this planet. They feel like they're above even the Most High, and that's their pride. It says in verse 4, though thou exalt thyself as the eagle. And not only do they exalt themselves as the eagle when how they act like they're on top of everyone, but what is America's quote unquote mascot? You know, what is America represented by? The bald eagle. And that eagle, you know, flies above every other bird in the animal kingdom. And so that's why they use that eagle. They represent themselves as the eagle because of that pride, which is furthermore proof of talking about who Edom is. But another point that I want to dwell on, it says, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? So first off, with that clefts of the rock, to get into what it's talking about right there, let's see. So when it talks about the clefts of the rock, you can date that back to Mount Seir, you know, and I'm gonna go ahead and throw a picture of Mount Seir in post-production, but it was a city that was built in the side of a mountain, you know, and you can date back the nation of Esau, Edom, living in Mount Seir. As a matter of fact, you know, I'm gonna get the scripture on that. Let's see. 1 second. Slovakia. Okay, so we're going to get Genesis 36 and 8. It says, thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom. So in Mount Seir, you know, it was this high mountain, and they dwelt in this mountain. You know, they built the city in this mountain. That this is where they used to live. And so it says, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, you know, and we've already established that this is talking about Esau, Edom. But it says whose habitation is high. And you look at today's time, not only did they dwell in those high up places and those mountains then, but you look today, and what do Esau, Edom build, or who started building these skyscrapers first? Who started building these huge towers, these high up buildings first in the world, before the rest of the world started following suit? America did. And why is that? That's because that's in Esau's spirit. That's in Edom's spirit. That's in the so-called white man's spirit, to live in those high up places, because that's where he comes from. He comes from Mount Seir. He comes from that cleft of the rock, you know, because if you look into an old biblical map of the country Edom, you know, which is where they used to stay. Mount Seir used to be called Petra, you know, which means rock, you know. So that's even more, you know, proof who it's talking about. And again, in today's time, you know, it's all just going over again, because them skyscrapers would be those modern day clefts of the rock. You know, those skyscrapers will be those modern day high habitations that they live in. You know, those different buildings that's like that. And so yeah, that's how you know who Esau Edom is. That's how you know who he is in today's time. So yeah, with that being said, once again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Harkodash. Again, giving double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who teach the truth of these scriptures. And again, giving peace, love, and salutations unto those of you who are part of those 12 tribes of Israel that are striving for salvation, striving to make it up out of this kingdom, and the men, women, and children that follow in truth and sincerity. That will say shalom.